joining today. So we are a VC Beat, a media companies in China connecting the medical fields and resources in China. And today, thank you for everyone for joining our panel for discussions. In the past few years, we see many AI medical companies founded in China, and especially after the DeepSeek launch earlier 2025. Today, we've invited a few experts in the AI medical imaging field in China and abroad to share their views of Chinese AI medical imaging companies going abroad for global expansions. In terms of fundings, the medical AI sector in 2024 reached a total of funding amounts of over 7 billion yuan, over $1 billion in China. On the technology rollout perspective, companies such as Lianying Healthcare and Shukun Technology, which is also known as CareVerse, have launched over 100 AI imaging products, covering the entire process from screening to diagnosis. While companies like Huawei have made breakthroughs in image restorations algorithms, the level of market's commercializations has increased significantly. The penetration rates in primary hospitals have risen from 12% to 47%, and medical insurance policies have accelerated the rollout of AI-assisted diagnosis by including it as an expanded coverage item. In terms of going abroad for global expansions, CareVerse cardiovascular AI has achieved a 72% renewal rate in the US, and Lianying Healthcare has established a data center in Hamburg, Germany, to meet the EU's GDPR's local storage requirements. Chinese AI imaging companies are shifting from trial runs to systematic global expansions and are gradually occupying an important positions in the global medical imaging field. Thank you, Vicky, Qidong, and Ian for joining our panel today. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Vicky, we would like to start with you first. Vicky is the co-CFO of the CareVerse, and CareVerse has covered smart CT, MR, ultrasounds, AI, GC, smart surgeries, and smart health solutions, covering the whole human body from heart, brain, lung, liver, breast, and musculoskeletal health. We would like to invite you to give a brief introduction of yourself and also the backgrounds of CareVerse.
Okay, thanks, Nicole, for the introduction, and also thanks for organizing this activity. This is Vicky. I'm the co-CFO of the company CareVerse, and also responsible for the global expansion of the company. So for CareVerse, we are the leading medical imaging AI company from China. So as Nicole introduced, so we have like a very comprehensive product portfolio covering the cardiovascular area, neurology, the lung, and also the abdomen, and also the MSK areas. I think we have more than 4,000 customers in China already, including the large hospitals and also like the out-hospital healthcare institutions like body checkup centers, imaging centers, etc. Regarding to our global expansion, so we started the global market back to like the end of 2022. So we first started from like Hong Kong, Singapore in the Southeast Asia, and then we gradually penetrate into like the European market, US market, and also the Japan market. So as of today, we have like 10 CE marks, 1 PMDA approvals, and also 2 FDA approvals. And we are currently working on getting more regulatory approvals from US, from Japan market as well. And in terms of like the customers global wise, so we have like the customers in US, in Japan, in Europe, and the Southeast Asia as well. So from our understanding, we think like the overall penetration of the AI medical imaging global wise is increasing very rapidly right now. Given like just as Nicole mentioned, I think one side is from like the doctor and also the hospital side. So they see more values from like the AI products in terms of increasing their capacity, efficiency, and also the accuracy. And also with the AI tools, we can actually provide more quantitative information to help the doctors to make more precise treatment decisions as well. On the other side is like the insurance coverage. So we see like from the US side, the Medicare has already covered like the CT-FFR from the past year, and also is expected to cover like the plaque analysis products from the cardiovascular area from next year as well. And also in China, so government also in the discussion to covering the AI medical imaging products right now. So I think overall, the AI medical imaging market, I think has already entered into like the rapid growth of the commercialization areas. And we are really confident like there like the huge market potential global as well. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Vicky, for your comprehensive introduction. And it's such a pleasure to have you here. We would like to learn a bit more about what makes, I know that's the CareVerse has been very established and is well funded in China as an AI medical imaging company. So maybe later on we can have you share a little bit more about like what makes CareVerse competitive in the global expansions, and also like what are the partners or opportunities you're looking for so when we're connecting the global resources to CareVerse. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so I think from like the Chinese medical imaging AI companies, I think the huge competitive advantage is about like the data and also like the patient variety. Just as I mentioned before, like we have more than 4,000 hospitals in China, and given the heavy workload from like the radiologists and also clinicians in China, so I think the doctors are more open-minded, embracing the AI products to put the products in their workflow. And when they are using the AI products, we can receive a lot of like the very good feedbacks on the products, which will help us to improve the products really quick. I think that's the very unique advantage from like the Chinese companies. And another side is like the data and also like the engineers. So you can see like there are a lot of like hardworking engineers in China as well. So I think in terms of like the product upgrade, updates, and also after sales services, I think we are in a really fast speed. So we can see, for example, from the cardiovascular areas. So we have like the calcium score analysis for the screening of the calcification of the vessels in the heart. And we also have the coronary CTA, CT-FFR. So it's a very comprehensive cardiovascular product portfolio. And also another important thing is like it is fully automated. So from like our competitors global wide, they are still like, they need the people in the workflow. So they need to get the data outside the hospital system to upload the data on the cloud. And they have like the clinicians at the back to control like the post-processing from the AI imaging. And also they generate the result and then push back to the hospitals. But from our solution, it's total automated. So we can put a server in the hospital connected with like the PAC system, and then the server can process all the images automatically. And it also can provide a more interactive way for the doctors. So they can make some edits on our processed images, and our software can modify, can recalculate the result based on the doctor's modification, which will provide the doctors more flexibilities when they are using the AI. So I think given like the data advantage, the engineer advantage, and also like the open, the mindset advantages. So we can see that the medical imaging AI products from China do have like the competitive advantages global wise.
This is great. We would love to learn more and dive deeper later on in the panel as well.
Yeah.
Thank you for your introduction. Next, we come to Iran. Um, so Iran has been with the Marathon Ventures for many years, as I know, and Marathon Ventures has a strong track records in China and also globally. It's backs Marathon Venture backs innovative startups leveraging AIs for healthcare, fintech, and enterprise solutions. And let's welcome Iran for an introductions about yourself and also about Marathon Venture.
Thank you, Nicole. Thanks for the introduction. This is Yiran, and I work for Marathon Venture Partners, and I focus on finding investment opportunities in digital health sector. So historically, my investment focused on such areas like the digital diagnostic for specific disease and digital therapeutics and at-home services. I want to introduce Marathon Venture Partners, and we are a venture fund dedicated to find the most cost effectiveness digital health solutions and supporting the from the very earliest stage. And for example, actually Shukun is one of our angel round investment. So I still remember back in 2017 when we first invested in Shukun, there are only 7 people in this company. And now you can see they have already sell their product in 4,000 hospitals globally. So we are truly honored to have growing alongside such teams, and we're committed in finding more opportunities like this.
Wow, that must be very exciting to see like one of your early invested portfolio company to grow into like a global companies nowadays. We would love to like later on in the panel discussions also like to learn a bit more about like the opportunities you see like in China, like in the AI medical imaging field, but also some opportunities you see like globally. Okay, but welcome you here. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Next, we come to Chi. She is the general partner at Chubb Health Ventures. Previously was the partner at Central Gold Capital, and she has been in many years in the health tech investment field in the U.S. markets. Let's welcome Chi, and please give a brief introduction of yourself and also the Chubb Health Venture.
Got it. Hey, thanks, Nicole. Pleasure to be here, meeting everybody. About myself, I've been spending the past 10 years in finance mostly, starting with leverage buyout, and then early stage, deep tech, growth stage, and then about 8 years ago, I joined my current partner CJ, and at Central Gold later on become Chab. And we're based in Silicon Valley, focused on early stage, pre-seed to pre-A, mostly. And in healthcare and the logistics supply chains, where I'm leading our healthcare practices in 8 years. So our thesis is pretty simple. We basically invest in any company leverage data and software to serve anything in healthcare. Besides, well, I can't say what we invest, but we don't invest in anything AI in biotech or biopharma. Where the 3 core pillars I've been mostly interested are, first of all, care delivery. Before pandemic, during pandemic, we have multiple portfolio company took off, just giving the trends there. And the second pillar where we've actually spent a lot more time since 2022, I would say post-pandemics, the RCM, revenue cycle management space, where, as you know, in the US, 800 billion, I think now probably about $1 trillion spending in administration workflow just due to the privatized healthcare market, unlike company our fellows like Australia, Canada, or even China, our universal healthcare system, where in the US we still see tremendous amount of waste. And I do personally believe like data and software and a lot of utilization of modern technology could be cutting down the waste. And as early stage events, we've seen actually a lot of projects across different domains, and AI image and the workflow tools are definitely one we're super interested, which is the third pillar. software as medical device and the AI clinical decision support has been one of our focus. And we're mostly founder-backed funds as early stage. We have LPs, operators, early physician coming from One Medical, Doximity, GoodRx, Hampton Hurst. And we also have folks coming from like, existing, I wouldn't say incumbent, but a lot of names like Apple Health, Thermo Fisher's, whatnot. We work with the founder from 0 to 1. That's also where I feel most excited for myself, just really like at such early stage. Founder journey is a leak. We call it leaky bucket. One day they need help with recruitment. We come in to help them to find the talents in our network. Second day, they need let's say they have MVP ready. They need to ship it out. They have a target customer profiles, and we just go out to look for, let's say, at least a few out of the first dozen customers for them and help them to grow until, let's say, Series A commercialization. And then we work with some of our institutional LPs to continue to support them. And since we're chatting about AI image, it's we also have a few portfolio company in the domain. One is Virgo. They're working in one is called Virgo Surgical Video Solutions. They've been around since 2018, and they're building the largest endoscopy video database. And the goal is really working with the pharma because for anything bowel disease drug development, and video data is actually a critical component for clinical trial recruitment, and they've been working with pharma on that part of the workflow. Another company, for example, Ruby Robotics, they're actually in the mid of some big deals, and they are working in the pathology workflow space, and initially they're seeking to leverage hardware to automate the whole rapid on-site evaluation part of the workflow, and later on by capturing the 10 gigabyte per patient high resolution image, and they can play a lot of clinical workflows, not clinical decision support and diagnostic workflows. And just as Vicky mentioned, integrate with a system like a PACS is very important, and those are some of the critical traits or founder experience we often look into when we invest in AI companies. What we're trying to dodge, because we're really looking at the space back from like, let's say 2015 to 2020, we have a lot of really good logos, enterprises like Visa AI, Zebra, Caption just got acquired by GE a few years ago. But I think what we learned is that the point of solutions is really hard to survive nowadays. And we are hyper focused on, let's say, beyond the AI, how are you going to further improve, whether the downstream, let's say after radiologists for stroke, right? Like Visa AI, after radiologists, how are you going to help other, stakeholders through that workflow to prove the real cost savings? How are you going to bring attention beyond department to the C level when during the procurement process? How are you going to further expand and develop the products? But anyhow, very very excited to continue the conversation and spend the rest of the 45 minutes with the folks here.
Okay, thank you, Chi, for your comprehensive intro and your view on the markets. And we heard like very interesting views like from our speakers here. That I think both Vicky and she mentions like the comprehensive solutions is very important instead of like just point solutions for care. So maybe we can dive deeper later into these topics in our panel. Yeah. Another round of applause for everyone thank you for joining us today. Okay, let's dive into our panel discussions for further discussing about like some of the topics we mentioned. So maybe the first questions will be for Vicky and Yiran from a standpoint of the Chinese market. What are the product breakthrough that you see of the AI imaging, medical imaging in China, like in the past few years? Maybe Vicky, you can also introduce it from the standpoint of CareVerse, and also like what you see like the overall markets, product breakthroughs or technologies innovations in China nowadays? Maybe we start from Vicky and then Yiran.
Yeah, sure, no problem. So I would say like the overall penetration of like the AI medical imaging products global wise, I think China is like the most advanced market global wise from the adoption perspective. So as I mentioned, like the carriers, we have like 17 NMPA class 3 certificates and another more than 10 class 2 certificates. And we have like a total more than 100 product portfolios covering the different therapeutic areas. I would say like today for all the hospitals like in China, for the radiology department, almost everyone is using AI to assist their daily work, given like the background information, like the Chinese radiologists are working with a very heavy workload. They work very late. So I think they are very open-minded and flexible in terms of using the AI technologies. And also from the hospital perspective, so given the launch of DeepSeek, so we see like the conversation from adopting AI is moving from like the radiology department to like the C-level within the hospital. So I think from like the hospital administrative perspective, people are also talking about using the AI. I think the medical imaging sector is the most mature sector, given like there are a lot of regulatory approvals and performance of the products are already validated from like the daily use from the hospital and from the doctors. And now I think the adoption of AI is moving beyond like the radiology perspective to clinical perspective. For example, like the cardiologist, neurologist, because AI can provide them more quantitative information to help them to make the treatment decisions. And also from like the quality control perspectives, given the adoption of the large language model, so AI can make more impact in terms of the quality control of the imaging part, and also like the medical when the doctors are doing like the medical records from the EMR perspective, AI are also helping the hospitals to do the quality control. And also from the research perspective, AI is also provide values to help the doctors to do like the research and the publish papers. So I would say like the adoptions of the AI and also from the technology perspective, there are a lot of new technologies and also the breakthroughs. And given like the current adoption rate, so we are moving more beyond from like the hospital perspective and also to from like the primary care in like the lower tier cities and also like the in the like the from the housekeeping perspectives. So people are also using the AI, like the chatbots, when they're at home, doing like some pre-consultation. And also there are more products, I think, helping helping the patients managing like their recovering process when they are out of hospital perspective as well. Yeah, so I think there are very rapid development in terms of adopting AI in China right now.
Yeah, that's great. And also, I think for Shukun, like Careverse, also into the medical, the AI surgeries field as well. And I think it's very impressive that just within, I found it in 2017 and within 8 years of time, like expanding into like so many like product lines, capturing different markets and providing like comprehensive solutions. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Next, have Yiran to maybe share your view on this topic.
Yeah, sure. Actually, I totally agree with Vicky, and I think China is one of the market that use AI at the earliest. One of the earliest market that we started to invest in the AI, and all the companies started to R&D product in AI medical. So and I agree with Vicky that AI imaging is one of the most mature area, and actually the company started to R&D in this area like 10 years ago, back in 2016, and they started to do these things. And nowadays, I think the AI product in China is become more mature, and they covered more areas. So from the diagnosis and to the treatment and to the recovery, and in different diseases. So not only in cardiovascular, but also we see more product in just like physiology, and in other areas like sleep disorder, and in neurology. So very a lot of different areas. So and also we see the business model is become more and more mature. So we started from the hospital will pay for this, and then nowadays more and more patients will pay for this, and other like the government will pay for this. So the total market is become more and more mature. And I want to mention, I totally agree with Vicky. We are now applying more AIGC in such area, and we also different technologies have improved. And also I want to mention one thing is we nowadays companies are combine hardware with software. So in AI medical imaging, just companies just like Carevers, they are using they are using their software technology to empower the hardware. So like some ultrasound. So they combine these two things together. And also what Vicky have mentioned, some at-home services, they combine some wearable devices. So you will see some AI watch and rings. They combine things like this to manage the situation of the patient at home. So this is a trend that we observed.
No, this is great. It's so the market adoption is definitely very fast in China, and also like from different levels of the adoptions from hospitals, and then also to like lower tiers like medical systems like community clinics, etc., hospitals, etc., and then all the way to what Iran mentioned about like the home care, like integrating with like the wearable devices, etc. And also like the developments, there's no doubt that the developments of the products and innovations and evolving very fast in China, because also like the clinical cost for like the clinical trial, the data collections, and the openness for the innovations and adoptions, also making the process extremely efficient in China. And what also like if you can share a little bit more about like in terms of like the product like accuracy standpoint of like the imaging, and also like just robustness in general, like compared to the products maybe in the US or like the frontier like healthcare innovations, like what do you see? Like, is there still a gap nowadays, or is there like even the products in China's maybe more competitive in some of the perspective?
Was that question for me, right? Oh.
We can come to you later, and then maybe we start from Vicky.
Okay, sure, no problem. So I think in terms of the accuracy, as long as the product is approved by the regulatory from like the NMPA or the FDA, I think the accuracy is considerably good. I think it's around like 85% to 90%, depending on the different product type. But I think the performance, the accuracy of the products from like Chinese products to like the global competitors, I think they are on par with each other. I think the major difference is regarding to the functions, and also, as I mentioned before, whether it's like fully automated or not. I think from this perspective, actually the Chinese products has advantages, because as I mentioned, like we we are deployed in more hospitals global-wise. So we receive all the feedbacks, all the suggestions from like all the top doctors. For example, if it's like the Anzhen Fuwai in Beijing, I think they are dealing with the patients per day. The patient volume per day, I think is larger than like the patient volume from the hospitals otherwise for like a month or something. So I think in terms of the functions and also in terms of like how you deploy the products, I think Chinese products have more advantages over the competitors. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. Yiran, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I agree with Vicky, and I think because we started this area more early, so like 10 years ago, so we have more data, and we have more, a real world use experience, and so such data and the experience and the feedback from the physicians, they will enhance this product. So I think that is another advantage of the Chinese AI imaging product.
Sounds great. Xidong, do you have anything to add from your maybe the US market standpoint?
Um, sorry, what was the question again?
Yeah, sure. So in terms of like the accuracy, like the gap of like not the gap, but like maybe from your perspective, like do you see any concerns of like, or like when the Chinese like AI medical imaging companies like expanding, for example, like to the US market from a regulatory standpoint or like the market's acceptance, do you see any, like questions
Right.
compared to
So,
like a US-based company? Yeah.
right, and honestly, FDA is more of like safety control, right? And the first AI clearance, I believe that was back in 2013, 2014, which I forgot which company was that. So throughout the year, we're seeing hundreds and thousands listed, FDA listed companies using AI for image diagnostic or facilitate some sort of workflow. And so that question, I don't see where I don't I see that Chinese companies being like very competitive, just as the volume, the patient volume like per year in China, the disease prevalence, and you have a lot more data points. And then I think when Chinese company come to the US, mostly we've seen the questions really around because of a physician or a department when they evaluate a new solution, they don't see you as a Chinese company or US company. The question asked, are you addressing the pain point that we're facing? Whether, and then it comes down to during the procurement process, the IT department gonna from a compliance part of the point of view, gonna see if you're being compliant, right? And then there's a political slash trust part of the game you have to play. And mostly like if you come to the US, you're likely to kind of incorporate another entity, right? And you'll recruit some like the US key opinion leader and help you to champion into the US healthcare system. So technology side of things, no, and the business side of things, there definitely going to be a lot of culture use cases and how people see ROI being different. As the folks mentioned. That not actually, from my perspective, like in the US, because the paying part is a lot of different. And in China, in the US, no patient gonna ever pay for AI solutions, like a B2B AI solutions. So in that case, but you have a maybe slightly higher budget across different healthcare system, like, a research center definitely have more money to pay than community hospitals. And then insurance CPT code being like private, like Medicare and a private insurance that building policy based on the CMS CPT code. Those are all the different payers. Their expectations are also different. So I would say commercial incentive would be definitely a lot different. And that's mostly I'll see the Chinese AI company would allocate more time and energy to source it out.
Got it, got it. So like the more like the cultural and regulatory perspectives, like and also like entity-wise compliance, like fitting into like the local like healthcare systems is more of a concern to you compared to like the technological perspective.
Yep.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, that's great. So thank you everyone for sharing on this aspect of like the AI medical imaging companies, like from China's expanding to the global markets. And maybe next, more of a questions for Chi. So what are some of the trends, and I guess you also touch base on like, you know, the trends of like AI investments like in the US markets, and you also mentioned some of the successful cases like V's AI and also like some of the successful assets. Do you mind maybe diving deeper like into that, and what are the factors that you see of those companies that's, you know, like contributing to their success? Maybe zooming into like one specific companies that of the most interest to you and will be a very valuable reference for our audience today.
Got it. So, I mean, you mentioned about Viz, right? Like, let's put it this way. Let's say Viz, AI Doc, Rapid AI, those are kind of in the similar categories. As I mentioned, you know, early in the days, everybody was innovating as a point of solutions. And nowadays, no point of solution will ever survive. That's why caption, I wasn't survive, but like getting to the venture return type of enterprise value, right, per se. And maybe that's why like Zebra was sold to, I forgot what was the company called, but like Caption was sold to GE to further expand beyond that point of solution or deeper into the workflow. I would say where this company, like nowadays, the unicorn type of company, really where things we could learn is really the beyond the AI image, what else? Right? Like if you really think in this way, like Viz working the stroke. Initially, they started in the stroke, and even now they're in the multi-stage stage. Starting with the stroke, you are helping radiology to as a point of solution, saving minutes. You shave off like 20, 30 minutes per case. And then, you know, the commercialization is really just evaluating ROI on time being saved, right? But then where I think now their flagship products really the pager system across different departments. Like after you see you know, ED see it, radiology see it, you have a stroke nurse coordinator, and then you have a neurosurgeon neurologist have to see it. And then after that, you have ICU settings, you have a post-acute settings. And by working with radiologists, you can only monetizing on that department operation budget. You know, my assumption would be like somewhere between 50K to 100K. And for large hospitals, smaller community hospital, even they have a radiology department, they won't even able to afford it, right? And then once you get down to the whole patient care pathway or patient journey, essentially you're working across different departments. Now you can kind of bring the solution to the C level to, hey, you know, we're comparing 30, 50, 100K to, let's say, you know, upper 6-figure to 7-figure operation budget on the hospital level. And then now, you know, you came in, radiology have the image AI, and then the whole care team can, you know, start elevating their capability and whatever part of the workflow they fit in to get ahead, you know, to prepare the patient going through that inpatient, you know, care journey. And so really in this case, you know, you're not only monetizing a department budget, but hospital budget, but also you can help your customer justify cost savings. And then essentially they can start working with the insurance on, hey, you know, this is what we do better than other hospitals, right? And then once you have the cost savings, you can start monetizing based on proving that your solution is contributing a significant of the patient health, the health journey, and cost savings, and you can take costs on that. That's really the inflection point of where as a point solution, you probably capped at the $100 million, $200 million, enterprise value. Now you're a unicorn, and you can start after you go through that one stroke workflow. You can start adding different modules to like PE, like pulmonary related, heart related, and some other specialties. I think those are really good example where as those ladies mentioned, that AI become mature, and we got to start thinking about beyond the point of care and what else, what we could do by leveraging the data set, the customer trust, and we can expand beyond to throughout the value chain there.
That's great. So can I confirm with you that so you do see it's a successful strategy from Zebra that you mentioned, is starting from like maybe a product line like pager, just like specifically like the pager systems like in hospital, and then to kind of like niche, but then to kind of like with that to streamline their revenue and to kind of like solidify that market across like the healthcare, like the hospital system, and to prove that ROI with that specific like market entry with
Yeah.
that product line before.
Yeah. The pager system is really the communication products, right? Like after the AI, after you got the radiologist done, and the next, how are you going to save time between the communication between radiologists to neurologists to nurse coordinators to ICUs to post acute, right? And then those are the time being saved between that communication versus like 20 minutes for radiologists. You're saving maybe 1 to 2 hours in the high acuity scenario. You're basically saving lives. That's what I'm saying, right? And then that's something like health your customer could justify with insurance, right? So I would say the workflow automation comes after the AI image, and that further reflect in your enterprise value.
Is there a background information on like how they like found that niche areas in like not like niche, but like how they found like the pager? Did they like go with a few product lines at first, and then they kind of like realize that they want to go with the pager first and to like nail that down before they further expand? Is that the successful strategy that we can refer to?
Yeah, I would say early on, everybody working on AI image, like you're laying AI on data, you're making screening diagnostic, whether I think Heartflow and Clearly are more on the diagnostic side, where Viz AI Doc more on the clinical decision support side. Don't focus too much on the pager because different company have different systems, right? But what I'm saying is really where you come in to see the care team, you can glue the care team together versus I'm just working with a radiologist, right? And the pager is more like a byproduct of not byproduct, more of like a platform to glue the care team together by leveraging what you already been built with radiologists, right? And that I don't think this is something new because everybody's doing it right now. And they're once you get one workflow down, you can start adding more diseases across additional departments, right?
Okay, got it. So that's really like corresponds with your what your standpoints of like the point solutions is not really working. It needs to come with like a comprehensive care delivery system that connects like
I would say workflow. Like, who are your audiences? Like, what stakeholders within the hospital are involved in this care delivery? Like, how are you going to benefit every single player through that workflow? And how are you going to save everybody's time? How are you going to make the patient journey more efficient? And then that's a point to show significant ROIs than being a tool.
Got it. Yeah, I believe. Thank you, Chi, for like very, I think, comprehensive deep dive into the successful cases that we can refer to, like for Chinese companies like expanding to the U.S. market. And I believe Vicky must has like point to share as well, since you're already building like comprehensive solutions instead of just a standalone product offering. So do you want to maybe share a little bit on that of like what was like the rationale behind of like building this comprehensive solutions, and what do you see that will make you more competitive in like going abroad?
Yeah, so thanks, Nicole. I think just to echo Qi's point, I think it's very important that, AI tool is not only like a useful tool for the radiologists to increase their capacity, but we have to embed it within the workflow, no matter it's a workflow from like hospitals in China, a hospital global-wise. For example, the pager example is more about, I can give you more detail. This is more like the mobile notification. So for example, a stroke patient was sent to the ER in the hospital at night. So during the scanning process, so the AI can do the triage of the patients to see the urgency of the patients. And then you have the mobile notification to notify like the radiologist or the neurologist. They may be at home, right? So they can check the images from like their mobile to see whether it's urgent, they need to come back to the hospital, or this patient can wait a little bit. I think that's the example, like you can extend from the radiology department to more like the clinical, the whole workflow. I think it's the same for like the cardiology perspective as well. So just like Qi mentioned, like HeartFlow just got IPO last week. I think at the very beginning, so they are more like a quantitative analysis of the blood flow for the CAD patients. So it's like additional quantitative information for the cardiologist to make a more process decisions for the patients. But with our, for example, we have a fully automated process, right? Because for HeartFlow, their turnaround time is around like 6 hours or even longer for the overseas market. I think for the ER perspectives, the fastest that they can do is around like 2 to 3 hours. But from our side, it's a total automated process, right? So it's like only 3 to 5 minutes. So that will make more impact in the ER system. So when the patient, they got a chest pain, they were sent to the ER. So we can do a very quick cardiovascular analysis on this patient to decide what is the following treatment for the patients. I think this is this will bring, huge impact to the whole healthcare system. As you know, the ER capacity is very limited. As long as you can make the turnover of the ER system faster and free up the space for the ER system, I think it will benefit the whole hospital as a group, other than you are just providing a useful tool for the cardiologist to make like smarter decisions for the patients. I think that's the example, like how AI is actually gradually changing the whole workflow of the hospital. But I would say like it's still at a very early stage. And also the hospital system in different countries are very different. For example, in China, so the hospital, the radiologist or the cardiologist, they are very happy that we provide a structured report. They can do like copy paste, or they can make some edits on the report and then put it in their reporting system. But when we are doing like the integration with like the hospitals in US, for example, they have like the Epic, the EMR system. So they want to get the exact, keywords from our report, and then they can integrate it in their report directly. So there are very detailed, workflow integration that will matters a lot. To make sure that the customer, they will use it or not, or they value the investment on the software or not. So I think from this perspective, AI has a long way to do. And to come back to your question regarding to the comprehensive product portfolio, other than like the very single like vertical products. So I think this is also a unique advantage from like the Chinese hospital. You can see the small startups from like global market, they are more very niche products. So for example, HeartFlow in the cardiology area for like 10 years, so as like clearly, and Viz started from like the neurology and also like rapid, but Viz did a good job in extending their business portfolio to other areas like in the chest, in other areas. I think but for Shukun at the first day, I think we started from cardiology, but we expanded to other area really fast because we make the radiology as our primary customers. So in order to make the radiology department to buy the products, you need to have a one-stop solution for them because you have to go through the IT system, the security system. It's a long process, especially like in US or in other markets. So for a very single product offering company, it's really difficult to survive. You may take like 1 year to get into one hospital, and you only have the only one like software solution to sell to the market. I think it's difficult to get the return on your investment, on the time and also the resources. But if you are a comprehensive product portfolio, you have a lot of like additional offerings. You may sell the cardiovascular products first, and you can add the neuro products, you can add other products to the radiology department or to the hospital. And from hospital perspective, they also prefer like a platform kind of providers because they only dealing with like one provider regarding to the after sales services, regarding to all the process. So I think the comprehensive product portfolio will definitely provide advantages in terms of talking to your clients. But the difficulty, again, for other companies to expand, I think the data set, and also you can see the founders from like the overseas competitor, they are more from like the more clinical background. So they made a cardiologist or neurologist before founding like the AI companies. So all their resources regarding to the KOLs, the data, all the relationships made in that vertical areas. But for us, we started, I think we are like the AI company by gene. So we started work with the radiology department working on different data. So we develop the products in different areas. I think that's the difference. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
Are,
Qi,
are we on track to time now?
I think we might run a bit over, maybe like 5
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah. Just want to toss a point. It was actually interesting. I just got back to China. I had a dinner with a friend who works for who works for Oracle, and we're actually enter into this debate about B2B sales in China versus US, and just touch on Vicky's point since she mentioned that working with the China versus US customers. Actually, I'm not sure because I don't know enough about Chinese healthcare system and procurement process. But this sounds like for large enterprise sales where in China the decision procurement decision maker may have a little bit more power to say yes and no when you deal with the Chinese. A large enterprise sales. I mean, by the way, this is for a lot of founders who are working with a Chinese company want to come to the US. It's the decision maker could be like very spread out. Like for example, if you want to sell if you want to monetizing a hospital operation budget or a department operation budget or operation budget per se, a lot of time like you need a multiple buy-in from multiple stakeholders within the system. Like the doctors have to love it, and the IT have to say yes because like in integration and compliance, and then you talk to the CFO, and then the CFO go back to check with the different stakeholders. That only if the if those folks are checked and he'll be saying yes. But we're in China, it sounds like I want to confirm with Vicky as well. It sounds like, hey, if a CFO said, for example, if I say yes, and then he could go back to the IT or the physician, and then to as of a way to, hey, you guys need to figure it out how this work with this vendor. I'm not sure if that's true or not or no, but I just want to kind of toss the idea for people to brainstorm.
Yeah, so I would say like in China, so the doctors first, they need to love the product. They need to raise this request regarding to the procurement request. And then I think it's like a joint decision making process, and also in public hospitals in China, they need to go through the vendor system as well. Yeah, so yeah, you need to be public in terms of like the tendering process. And then if you are picked from like the tendering process, you can go from like the IT discussing the deployment, etc. So I would say like in general, the IT system, or I think the key decision maker may be the chief from radiology department or the cardiology department, and then it's like the hospital administrative perspectives, and then go through the tendering process. But IT is also important, but may not be that difficult compared to like US healthcare system. Yeah.
Totally. Thank you.
Yeah. And I should have asked this earlier, Vicky. So you mentioned that CareVerse has already expanded globally. Just in terms of like the numbers, like how many like hospitals or like partners you already have like overseas, maybe in like US, Europe, and also like outside of China in Asia. Could you provide like a general overview on the numbers?
Yeah, I think we are still at the early stage because we just received the CE marks by the first half of this year. I think from the European perspective, we have major products approved right now. So I think we have like a few customers in different countries, like in France, in Spain, in Italy, in different countries. You need to do like one by one. And for the Southeast Asia, I think as long as you have the CE marks, it's easy to transit to their local approvals. I would say like healthcare is like they have multiple barriers for the companies to penetrate into the market. The first is the regulatory approvals. So I think for the Southeast Asia, we are still in the process getting the approvals, while in the meantime, we have a few customers are doing the trial. And for the US market, I think definitely is the largest market given like the ability to pay and also the insurance coverage. We are working on the clinical trials we got 2 approvals already, and we are working for 2 additional approvals right now. And we have a few strategic partners doing like the product trial for now. Yeah, so I would say like we're still at the early stage, and we see huge potentials for the future development.
What are the 2 approvals in the US markets?
Also regarding to the cardiovascular products.
Got it. Yeah. Yiran, do you have anything to add, like in between, like what you see, maybe the difference between like the 2 entering into the global markets and also like the Chinese market?
Yeah, I think AI product, medical product is very different from the drugs and from the very traditional medical device. It's because we talk about the workflow, and we talk about you have to adapt to the also data set, many things. So it's very different. So I think for such companies, they have to establish a very local team. So it's not just we provide this product to the distributors, or we just sell a product. It's sell a solution. It's to sell. So you have to for the company, they have to totally understand the ecosystem abroad. So I think it's very important that the company, they have to understand, and they have this they want to do this business, so they have to treat this very seriously. So I think it's very important for these companies to cooperate with global partners. So also Marathon Venture Partners, we are doing this. We want to find this talent abroad, and they can understand this product, and they understand the global market. They understand they have local resources. So we are looking for this partners, and we have I think for China, we have great product, just like what CareVerse have already developed. And we also have other product in many different area, different diseases. So we're looking forward to work with such partners abroad, So also, so if you do have this resources, and please connect it to the VC Beat or connect to me directly. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Yiran, for bringing this up. I think you brought up a great point of like for Chinese companies, medical companies, like going abroad, like it's a great strategy to look for partners in the early stage and then to have like to build a local teams. So Chi, I know you are very well connected in the Silicon Valleys. You've been here for like so many years and interacted with like different kind of like levels and sizes of the healthcare organizations here. Like, what do you think, or maybe your advice of like as like for the Chinese AI medical imaging companies like entering into the US markets, like what is the strategy or what, like kind of healthcare organizations or partners that they can be working with? And what do you think is like the criteria for, like looking for screening or looking for those partners?
Uh, I think we already mentioned a lot of those. Stay close to your customers, know your audiences, and just in general, like you got to know the problem. But within healthcare, because the incentives is so messed up in the U.S. healthcare system, right? It's really hard to. It's already hard to go through like 12 months of a traditional enterprise sales to know who's decision maker. But in this case, you'll have to make everybody happy, which is hard. Stay close with the customers, and also building trust. And Iran mentioned have the team. I said have the KOL. Um, Other than that, I I'll have to think about it more. I think we're folks did great job to cover most of those. Oh, and integration, yes.
Yeah. Or maybe just like I think for
It's very funny. Vicky mentioned about integration. It's a really hard job because I don't know about China, but like in the US, let's say if you have EHR, right? Like we actually, as I mentioned, we do a lot of investment not only in for hospital as a customer profile, also like SMB physician, primary care office, like a small clinical groups. Um, with a small, it's very sad to see the what I call US healthcare become like US healthcare corp, meaning you see less and less physicians starting their own business in a highly privatized ecosystem. But most folks they start joining the hospital, and then people start now knowing the business side of healthcare, where let's say go back to 20, 30 years ago, you have to do a lot of different things, right? Like Obama even said that, we did well in his administration, he did well in digitizing, healthcare, but they failed to do just to digitalizing healthcare. And that's why like nowadays, if you want to work with a large enterprise, you have by default to make the front end as light as a lightweight as possible, as unnoticeable noticeable as possible, as a as a not adding additional burden to physician day to day as possible. Whereas if you want to work with a small clinician for some of the solutions, um, they could still have some tolerance on, okay, cool, I have to manage like say 10, 20 Chrome tabs at the same time, I'll still do it, right? So that's the difference between like, hey, know your customer, what they expect from your products. It become like super important. And then if you want to work with AI, you want to loop in primary care physicians into your product. And their expectation is also different than radiologists or neurologists, right? So those are the things you have to stay very close to the customer, talk to them on day to day, and see what are stakeholders going to use it.
Yeah, I totally relate to that. Because I work at a AI startup healthcare startup that we work with like large healthcare systems and also different kind of medical organizations. And I think I can really relate to that. Is that maybe it's also a strategy or advice that I can share, that we use something that's a very low lift solutions to enter into the markets, working with those healthcare organizations and to penetrate as many companies as possible before we upsell anything that's maybe profitable for us. But I think it's a strategy that may be worth trying out, of like using very low lift to like kind of break into the markets of like building that trust and relationships, working with the larger healthcare organizations in the US, before like moving on to like upsell. Yeah, but thank you for bringing that up. It's very insightful, Chi. Maybe just like I know we are running out of time, so just want to like check in with everyone, like to see if you have like the last maybe advice or thought on like our audience, like they are like the companies that's looking for, you know, like global expansions, and you know, just like from the point of view, like from three of you, just give them like a general, like maybe an advice, to wrap up this today's panel. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so maybe I can get started. So maybe I can give some advices to other Chinese companies who are aiming to expand their business global wise. I would say the first barrier is like the regulatory approval. So I think FDA, PMDA, I think the regulators from different regions are completely different. So for example, for FDA, you need to at least include like 50% of the US patients' data. So I think it's important that to find the right people and also like the right agency to help you to manage the process, and also be aware, like, you know, the operations of the US healthcare system is completely different from like the hospitals here in China. And the second thing is like you need to have like the KOLs, you need to build up like the resources and network in the local market, for example, to support the local KOLs to do their research, to publish some white papers, validation reports. I think there are a lot of things need to be done to prove that your products, besides is the regulatory approval. And the third thing is like, just as Yiran mentioned, you need to have like a local team to do, you know, all the kind of the sales support kind of activities. For example, working on the deployment, integration. I think that's like a huge workload in terms of like the integration with the healthcare institutions. Even within the same country, you need to work with different healthcare systems, and also you need to communicate with the doctors, help them to adopt the product faster and build up the trust between your products and also with their workflow. Yeah, I think that's all I would like to share with the other companies. Yeah, thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, I will go next. I think the wiki gives all these entrepreneurs some very practical advice, and so I will give you some not that practical advice. So I believe not only in China but also in the US, globally, we are experiencing a very difficult time for the entrepreneurs and also for the venture capitals. We are all experiencing this. But I believe what I say is that I see more and more companies, if they do have this product very, you know, they provide values and they can help the physicians, they can help the patients, and see more and more companies, they are generate more and more revenues. And also some of them, they already have the profit. And what I observed is that the profit is become more and more, has a profit rate is becoming more and more high because of we using the generative AI. So the cost of the company have been reduced very quickly. So my advice is to do not give up. Just experiencing this very difficult time, and you focus on how to solve these problems for your patients, for your physicians, for the customers, and finally, we will see the great day come. So be patient and be focused. Thank you.
Cool. Actually, I was thinking the same something you just said. But just to add on top of that, it's been very rough for anything device related. Not just a lot of challenges, not just only from my portfolio company, but also a lot of peers I've talked to. Device is really, really hard. Hard as of now in the valley, there's only two type of investors: growth investors, looking for 10, $20 million ARR, and early stage investors are throwing term sheet, let's say 5 million pre-money, 5 million round at 5 million pre-money, 10 million round at 10, like basically straight off the bat, like 50% dilution. I think a lot of this reflect to the generative AI. Everybody's chasing, shiny objects. And you see a lot of company being, whether we don't know if it's inflated valuation, but very high valuation. So going back to that, I think being able to, you don't have to create an AI like a regulated product to make money. You could start with something very lightweight. The reason I always had a bias on software as medical device just because for a lot of low regulated products, you can have like a lot of chance to pivot. But if you decide to go after FDA regular pathways, you have basically you have like a less shots on goals. One time for 18 months, and you realize, we built something very shitty. There's no second chance for you to burn another 24 months to make it right. Right. So thinking seriously, like, hey, am I right to do this AI regulated product? If it's not, you can still building something meaningful like clinical business support or anything on the workflow, but then adding that regulated product piece later on, but just to be able to show some revenue early.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think like one case I heard that like very relate to what you mentioned is that like I talked to one of the startup companies that they actually just built like a questionnaire on the machine at like the waiting room at hospitals, and just to like a 6 questions questionnaire to like screen out like the elderlies for if they have the likelihood to fall at home. And that questionnaire is like more as used like a clinical like decision support tool, which is like they don't need any FDA's regulations and like or approval, but then they still can get like around $200 for the reimbursement. So I think there are many opportunities like out there that's with the great understandings of like the markets and like understanding also like the regulatory perspective, and can actually start from like a like FDA approval like first, but that may really needs like a great understanding of the market and like market propositions, and have like the local team here to understand like reimbursements and everything. But yeah, but I think that's a great point. And thank you everyone. Thank you Vicky, Yiran, and Chi for joining our panel today and sharing like really valuable views on the markets from different perspectives. And yeah, and we would like to wrap up. And thank you everyone for joining us. And yeah, we will connect offline.
Cool. Thank you all.
Okay.
Cheers.
Thank you. Okay, you have a great
Bye.
rest of your day. Bye. OK，我们是这样就可以了，是吗？Hello。